Welcome along to the Japanese Grand Prix. It's round 18 of season 15 in the Wheel2Wheel Racing AL2 Championship. And this week we're in the country that's going to host the Olympic Games next summer in Tokyo. Today we're a bit further south at a venue that has hosted the Japanese Grand Prix dozens of times since its debut in 1987. We're at Suzuka. Suzuka is the only figure of 8 track we race in Formula 1, and it's one of the most challenging circuits in the world. It's a 3.6 mile circuit, 18 corners, 8 to the left, 10 to the right, 1 DRS zone, and overtaking can be difficult around here, but the best opportunities are into the final chicane and down into turn 1. A big test for our drivers lies ahead as they'll endure 53 laps of racing around this legendary circuit. And a few different strategies are likely to come into play as the tire situation is an interesting one. We are in the hardest of the Pirelli range, C1, C2, and C3. The soft C3 tire, about 5/10 faster than the medium and over a second faster than the hards, but of course the softs with that lower lifespans. We'll see what tires our drivers go for as we are underway in our single 18-minute qualifying session. We look forward to another great race here at Wheel2Wheel Racing.
Yeah, most of our drivers coming out on the soft tyres. We've got 2 looking to currently set a lap on the medium tyres, which we've got Sega Takaz, who's the first car out driving for Williams. So he will be looking to set a time on the mediums. We've had a weather report as well. We've got a cloudy qualifying session and then a dry start to the race, but then it will be wet towards the end. So will this affect the strategy some of these drivers will be going for? Will this affect some of their setup? As part firme rules, you can't change your setup bar the front and other things like your brake bias after qualifying.
Yeah, and this is a very challenging circuit even in the dry, so in those wet conditions it'll be a huge test for our drivers.
Yeah, we didn't go here on the real 2020 calendar because of our COVID calendar, but we are here today for Wheel2Wheel, and we will be riding on board shortly with Sega Takaz for his first flying lap. So as we come around the last few final corners, we've got a very critical exit to this corner here because we've got the first and only DRS zone coming down the start-finish straight. Heading down towards turn 1. You can go quite fast through turn 1, sharp into turn 2. Then we've got the S's here, which is a very technical session. Corner entry and exit is critical for each corner, because any time lost now would be compounded into a massive deficit on your lap time. As we now come round Dunlop, which is turn 7, coming into Degner curve, which is turn 8 and turn 9. It's hard there to stay within the track limits, as Sega did invalidate his lap there, but we will keep on board with him as he comes around turn 10, and then turn 11 is the left hairpin. Very heavy braking there, and you have to get on the power nice and gentle there so you don't lose too much traction. Coming round turn 12, which is a long right-hander which you can go flat out. Heading into Spoon, where we saw quite a few overtakes here from the Ferraris in the last couple of races, turn 13 and turn 14. Critical exit here as you're now heading down the back straight. You want to be getting a good slipstream here during qualifying and the start of the race. Down into 130R, which is turn 15 to the left. This is where Leclerc was taking off his wing mirror. Into Casio Triangle, where we've got turn 16, 17. Again, critical on your exit here into turn 18 as we come across the line. And we won't actually see a time, well we do see a time of 1:30.9, but it was an invalidated lap from Sega. And
Dastardly sets the first legitimate time, I'll say, as he takes provisional pole at a 1:28.6.
So have we got anybody about to cross the line setting a lap? Yeah, Prev. Appleplex takes provisional pole at the minute in the Mercedes with a 128.5. I had heard news that Appleplex is quite quick around here during the practice sessions. Also, it's quite tight between Just Mikey and Bannister, who are currently in the title fight. So the other Williams driver, Ted, also going for a 1:13.9, but he set the time on the soft tyres.
Bannister has set a purple sector 1 on his first flying lap.
So I'll join you on board with Bannister.
Purple sector 2 as well. A good lap so far from Bannister, and just the chicane to go. Move on the power, and he goes quickest by over a second, a 127.4. Great lap from Bannister.
Mikey's on his lap now, but he's on a medium set of tyres. So he's coming round Spoon, and we'll see what kind of competitive lap time he can put in.
And meanwhile, Old Dad's Rules put it into P2, a good lap from him in the Racing Point.
Very tidy last sector from Mikey, and he's just coming across the line now, and he sets a 128.7, which is quite a respectable time on the mediums. He's beaten his teammate by nearly a second on a slower compound, as his teammate does improve his lap there.
Yeah, no surprise to see Mikey going for the mediums here in qualifying. Seems to have no issue cutting his way through the pack week in and week out. Whether or not he has a good spot on the grid doesn't really seem to bother him. So
that might also come into play with the weather strategy.
Yes.
He might be looking for a longer stint at the start, and just to judge where the rain's going to fall, just to fall at the right time for his strategy. But what was the time difference between the softs and the mediums?
Just under 6/10.
Ah, okay. Mikey is 1.3 off of Bannister there.
Yeah,
so
really solid lap from Bannister.
I mean, he's 7 tenths in front of Old Dad's and then 1.1 in front of Appleplex, so that is a very solid lap from Bannister there. So we don't have anybody out currently setting a lap. We've got a few cars out on an out lap. Appleplex looking to close that gap between the two cars in front of him. Dastardly reporting to have improved his setup since his last outing here in Sochi. Sochi? Got the wrong place. Since his last outing here in Japan, he didn't like the setup last season. So he's looking to see what kind of time he can set with a more stable setup, which is doing pretty well at the moment. He's not far off the cars in front of him. So who should we ride on board with? We've got Appleplex, Dastardly or Prev, all about to start a lap.
We'll see how Appleplex gets on in this first sector as he's coming on into the main straight, starting his second flying lap on a fresh set of softs.
Nice and tidy, turn 1 and 2 there. Looks to have a lot of control through the S's there. He's not going too wide. hitting all the apexes, all the right place. He goes a bit deep into Dunlop and collects a bit of grass, but he still looks pretty strong.
He can get away with going a little bit wide, and Dunlop if you're able to keep the power down. Which I think he managed to do as he set that purple sector 1.
Oh, and Prev has invalidated his lap, but he was Apoplex was 4 tenths up on his time.
Very early on the power on the exit of Spoon, which is vital as you want to carry as much speed as possible onto this back straight. He's improved through sector 2 as well. See what he can do on this final chicane. Little bit too much curve on the exit. We'll see if he can improve his time.
Only by a margin.
Doesn't improve his position. Stays P3.
Dastardly has aborted his lap. He didn't look like he was improving. Prev had invalidated his lap. He's got a full tank of ERS, so is he going to be going again? No, he's pulling in also.
Ed also invalidating. If he pulls into the pits or has another go. And he's bang on the power out of the chicane and nearly goes off the track, but he's invalidated this lap as well with that.
Yeah, that's invalidated. Old Dad's is just starting a new flying lap, but Sega is behind him on track, and he's about to start his first flying lap on the softs. His first attempt out was on the mediums.
Oh, and Old Dad's getting really loose.
Very loose there. He didn't have much control through the S's there at all.
Oh, as we see Ted on the side of the track. It can be so difficult that first sector. You gotta get the line absolutely perfect. Those curves are not forgiving at all.
Ooh, and he was very deep there under the flyover, but he somehow didn't invalidate his lap.
I think he lost a couple of tenths at least through there. That might be why it didn't invalidate, because he certainly didn't gain an advantage by going off the track there. I don't think he will be improving on his previous lap time at this rate.
And he apparently got a purple sector too there.
Old Dad's? I saw 3 tenths worse off.
It's a bit strange, isn't it? I mean, he could have a purple sector, but his overall time was 3 tenths off.
Yeah, well, overall, did not improve. We'll jump back, see who else is on a lap.
And Sega's about to cross the line, and he improves, goes up to 7th with a 129.1, and Old Dad's has retired. It looks like he's off. So if we ride on board with Sega, we may see his car over on the left.
Yep.
Yes, he's in the wall. So that's how critical these S's are. You can just lose your back end and that's it, you're off.
At least silver lining for Old Dad's. He already put in a great lap so far in this session, so P2 as it stands.
Yeah, 4 minutes left. He might have been rushed to get back into the pits to get out and do another fresh flying lap. So who are we looking
now
at?
See CHM coming into the final chicane. It's slightly improved to sector 2. See.
And he does improve.
He does improve. Up into P7. CHM.
And Letdown Estate still isn't out the garage.
I wonder if he's going for the mediums at the start. or just wants fresh tires. There's only 10, so if he did set a qualifying lap, he'd be starting on worn tires.
He's coming out now, so he's going to have one shot at putting in a valid time. Is he? I've got reds on my screen.
The letdown of state is on the mediums. Unless my screen is wrong.
I've got on my graphic and on the car the red tyres.
That is.
But this has happened a few times before. So, no surprise there. So,
we'll see, I guess. Mikey's just started his flying lap.
This time on the soft tyres, so let's see if the current driver champion can, or should I say the championship leader, can get anywhere near those top three.
Taking it very conservative through there, not using all of the track on the outside, but still pretty quick through there.
Got Appleplex right on the tail of Dastardly in this qualifying session, almost as if they're racing. Maybe Appleplex is going for the slipstream effect.
And a purple sector 2 for Mikey.
Yeah, 8 tenths down, so that will bring him a lot closer to the top three. Can he knock some time off in this final sector?
Puts it into P2. Great lap.
Fantastic time there.
The top two in the championship are the top two on the grid at the moment. We'll see just a minute left. We have Appleplex getting ready to make his final run, I think.
Dastardly improves by nearly 2 tenths, but stays in 5th. I think Appleplex backed off from the back of Dastardly, but he's in.
He had another chance to have a run, but...
So Bannister, Appleplex, they are set in their positions. They cannot finish this qualifying session higher than they are currently. Just Mikey, he's not looking to be setting a lap now. 3 seconds down on his time.
That up to P7.
And we've got a letdown of state yet to set a time. He's coming round the final sector now. Ooh, very tight on that chicane there.
He stays 10th, but the medium tyre.
I'm interested to see if it is going to be the medium tyre, because it's still the red tyres on my screen. But if that is medium tyres, that is a very good time. Just Mikey coming in. CHM. No, he's not looking to set a time, so it looks like that will be our finishing order. Chewy messaging on the live stream asking what the weather forecast is. We have got a dry start to the race and then heavy rain towards the end, so it's looking to be the last third of the race currently, but as we know, this game can develop, and in real life it's 24 hours between qualifying and the race, so the weather can change slightly. So I think it's just a case of waiting for the clock to run down for this qualifying session to end. So as you said, Matt, our top two for this qualifying session are also the top 2 currently active drivers in the standings. I can also tell you pole time for last season in AL2 was a 1:29.1, so we've
oh, wow,
smashed that time this visit. And there we have our Japanese Grand Prix short qualifying session completed. And we have on pole Bannister setting a 1:27.4. In second place we have Just Mikey. In third is Old Dad's Rule. In fourth is Appleplex. Fifth is Dastardly. Sixth is Prev. Seventh is Ted. Eighth is CHM. Ninth is Sega Takaz. And a Letdown Estate is in 10th. And he's still on the soft tyres on my screen. Is he on softs on yours?
A Letdown Estate is on mediums on mine.
This is weird.
Hopefully it fixes itself for the race.
Yes, because going from a dry quali to a dry race, they should be starting on the tyres they completed their qualifying lap on, and there only being 10 drivers in the race means all the drivers have to start on that tyre that they set their lap on. So now at Wheel to Wheel we have a 5-minute break as we're going into 100% distance, and this is typically the time when we look at our current standing. So I can tell you that currently leading the Drivers' Championship with 5 races to go, we have Just Mikey at the top, having scored 12 podiums, 2 wins and 5 fastest laps. Mikey has a total of 280 points. Now, Steve-O would be in second, but Steve-O has been promoted up to the AL1 League where he is scoring points. So we all wish him the best to continue and stay with the Wheel2Wheel family. But then the second active driver in the standings is Bannister. Bannister, having scored 9 podiums, 2 wins and 1 fastest lap, has 210 points, who is 70 points behind Mikey. And with 130 points up for grabs, which is 5 25-point wins and 5 fastest laps, we still have quite an open championship here. Also able to grab that title is Dastardly, and Dastardly, having scored 7 podiums, 2 wins and 2 fastest laps this season, he scores a total of 196 points. So he is 84 points behind Mikey, so still able to grab that lead with the 130 points that are available to any driver. So, and then we have in 5th place Sega Dakars, who currently is not able to grab the driver's title as he is 144 points behind Just Mikey. So, looking into the Constructors' Championship, we have Renault in the top spot. Renault, having scored 13 podiums, 2 wins and 5 fastest laps, they have scored 384 points. Now, closely followed behind them is Ferrari. And Ferrari, who having scored 8 podiums, 2 wins and 2 fastest laps, have 303 points, which is 81 points behind the current leaders, Renault. And in the Constructors' title, there is 220 points possible up for grabs in these last 5 races, which leaves it open to any of the top 5 teams. So Mercedes is in 3rd place with having scored 11 podiums, 2 wins and 1 fastest lap, scoring them 268 points. And then we drop down then to AlphaTauri, which currently it was only Steve-O who was scoring for AlphaTauri. And there is no other drivers for AlphaTauri, so they won't be scoring any more points. But they had 9 podiums, 7 wins and 2 fastest laps, scoring 233 points. And then we only drop down to Williams, who is the last team able to take the Constructors' title, with 5 podiums, 1 win and 4 fastest laps, with 195 points.
Still a lot that can happen for both drivers and constructors championships. And hopefully we'll get a good battle today between the top two in the championship standings as they're on the front row together. Hopefully we get a little Prost and Senna action here at Suzuka.
They have been quite close in the practice sessions, apparently within a tenth of each other most of the time. And I can also tell you that last season Mikey finished fourth, but he was the highest finisher of the currently active AL2 drivers, and Bannister was behind him. But Bannister had a 10-second time penalty, which I think was appealed and then overturned, meaning that Bannister then took the step off Mikey. So we've got a dry to wet race here, but then we've also got track limits to contend with, penalties, so anything could happen, as you say, Matt.
Yeah, and strategies play a big part around here, even when it is dry. But as you say, we've got some wet weather coming in towards the end of the race, so that will play a big factor of if our drivers can find the right changeover point going to the intermediate tire from the slicks. We'll have to wait and see, but definitely a big test for all of our drivers here today. Should be an exciting one. I'm looking forward to it. Just a couple minutes away from lights out now.
So anybody watching wishing to try out some nice 100% friendly F1 PS4 League Racing, we are Wheel2Wheel Racing. You can find us on Facebook, on the internet, and yeah, just search for us. You can sign up. We have a Discord on our website. You can sign up. Someone will be in contact for an induction, because we induct all of our drivers to make sure that everybody's clean. But we have all of our race highlights, race results, archive of all of our previous 14 seasons, as we are on our 15th season now, so it's a long-standing league. Yeah, come join us if you're watching and you like racing.
Yeah, no better league out there in terms of racing etiquette. Everybody from the front of the grid in AL1 all the way down through AL2, everybody's clean, always leaves space and has respect for one another. It's a really great league to be a part of.
So our drivers now set out to do their formation lap. So they'll be looking to warm the tyres up, just get the final bearings on the track.
So, what kind of state? What tires is he on?
He now has mediums on. But honestly, watch my stream. He's had softs on up till this point.
I believe you. I just wanted to make sure that it fixed itself.
But that makes his time more impressive from qualifying.
And makes him the only driver out of the 10 that opted for the medium tire. Everybody else on the softs. So you see our possible strategies in the dry could be a 1 or 2 stop, but obviously weather going to play a big factor here.
It all depends when them first drops are going to fall, doesn't it? Because you could get a soft stint in, ready for the rainfall, or if it's going to come a little bit later, would you go soft medium?
It's one that could go anywhere with strategies. A track that uses craziness on its own. But it'll have the help of some tricky conditions here towards the end of this one, just to add to the difficulty drivers will have to cope with.
So we can see our drivers round in the last few corners now. Bannister and Mikey raring to go for their championship title battle. So who will come out on top here in Suzuka?
So then we have Bannister on pole, in a great position to chase down Mikey in the championship, as long as he's able to keep Mikey behind him down into turn 1. As we have the grid set and 5 lights are on. Boogity go, boogity go, boogity boogity boogity. We are underway, and it's a really horrible start for Mikey.
He's now swamped by everybody. He's dropped down to
into turn 1 down the inside. Bannister's able to keep the lead. Old Dad's up into second. Mikey's dropped all the way to 6th.
Not a very good start for the Renault driver there. I don't even know what happened. He must have just missed the lights and just not went. Either that or he had some anti-storm. But we have all 10 cars coming round Dunlop curve. We've all made it through the S's on this first lap. Appleplex is really having a look at the rear of Old Dad's. Just Mikey will be desperate to make some places up, and he's already having a move on Prev, but he's not able to make it round the hairpin. Prev quite close to the back of the Ferrari of Dastardly as we're coming round Spoon. Can Mikey get some traction out? He's got his overtake on and he's chasing down the Red Bull car of Prev. As we see the pit strategy coming up on my screen now. Just Mikey is itching to get past that Red Bull. Bannister sets the fastest lap. Of course he would. He's led the first lap.
So 2 Mercedes in the top 3 now. Could be a big day for them in terms of constructors' points. And Old Dad's getting a little loose in sector 1. Appleplex not able to make a move. A little tight through here.
So we've got some action going on at the back. The timing screen.
Here comes Appleplex.
Just caught the tail end of that. Looked like he was getting a bit loose. And just Mikey is trying to have a look around the outside.
Here comes Dastardly. Dastardly squeezing his way through the inside of the hairpin, and he's got a great exit. And
Dastardly gets the move done.
From the stone. No, Dastardly is made up 3rd at the Mercedes.
Commentator's curse. She said that both Mercedes were doing well up in the top 3.
Appleplex, no overtake. From around 130R, so he's not going to be able to challenge Dastardly into the chicane.
So after this lap we will have DRS activated, meaning drivers will get that extra power coming down this start-finish straight to be able to get the overtakes done. Just Mikey's still looking at the rear of that Red Bull in front of him, wishing he was in front. So all 10 cars survive the first 2 laps quite well. Got Mikey with amazing control around the S's there, because he will be getting dirty air from that Red Bull in front. The dirty air will be disrupting that flow, so his downforce won't be working as it should be.
Further down, Ted right on the gearbox of the letdown estate as they came into the S's and ended up dropping back, but the letdown estate was a little bit wide. And Ted had a chance to challenge into the hairpin, but he's let off a little bit, and a little bit of a lockup on corner entry. He could challenge him into Spoon as he's got a great exit, the Williams driver. On the quicker tire than the driver in front. Letdown estate, the only driver on the mediums for the start of this race. Ted will be wanting to get this move done.
Yeah, a Letdown Estate did start behind the Williams driver, so the Letdown Estate was able to get past him at some point. So Ted wanted to reclaim that position.
Oh, that's not a good exit for the Williams. He's gotten on some grass and he's dropped back. Just right on the back of the Letdown Estate. But he's not going to be able to make the move this lap.
Just Mikey had his DRS open there, trying to make his way past Prev, but Prev also had his DRS open, making it not possible for Mikey to get the move done. And old dad's with our first penalty of the race. It's not what he will want, because he's currently got the fastest lap. Ted staying with the Ferrari of a Letdown Estate. The Letdown Estate's dropping back a little bit, probably to do with their medium tyres. And Ted is hanging on. In fact, Ted's having a look on the inside of Spoon, but he backs out and he goes very wide. Ends up picking up a penalty.
And he's had opportunities here, Ted, the last lap or so, but not in a position to really send it on Ferrari as he's closing as they go through 130R. He might have another opportunity here, whether it be in the chicane. No, he backs out. He might get a chance into turn 1.
We have a yellow flag. Dastardly is in the pits. Oh, Prev made it past Appleplex, and Appleplex is a bit loose, and Just Mikey's having a look on the inside, just on the entry to the S's, but he backs out. What happened between Dastardly and Appleplex?
There wasn't a wing change for Dastardly. It was just straight tires, so it might have something to do with the weather. Get onto the mediums and take those a full stint into the rain.
So now Mikey has made up a place through Dastardly pitting, but is...
Great exit for Mikey out of the hairpin.
Ooh, and then there's side-by-side there with Appleplex, but Appleplex seems to have better traction out of that corner. Just Mikey not having very much luck at the beginning of this Grand Prix. Just can't seem to get his car in the place that he wants it to be. Appleplex kicking up some dust from the grass there. Oh, and Appleplex is locked up.
Mikey should be getting the move done here. He's got a great exit.
Yeah, and Appleplex won't have DRS either.
Yeah, Mikey is comfortably through as they come around turn 1.
I'm going to try and have a look at Dastardly's wing, because I can't understand that early stop. Unless he weren't happy with how much downforce he had from his front wing. Maybe in the traffic he felt like he couldn't turn and decided to pit and put more wing on without changing it.
Yeah. Interesting call yesterday, but he had an interesting strategy call last week and it worked out pretty well for him, so there's still a long way to go and anything can happen.
Appleplex is just dropping back from Mikey. He's just outside the DRS range. Mikey's just teetering inside that DRS range on Prev. But now the key would be, Mikey this time round looks like he will have DRS on Prev, but Prev won't have DRS to defend, which he did every other opportunity.
This is the moment for Ted to get past a letdown of State as they're going down the back straight. Ted with a great exit out of Spoon. He's ahead going through 130R. Can a letdown Estate challenge into the chicane though? Now he stays behind the Williams. So Ted getting the move done.
Mikey setting the fastest lap there as he's closed right down onto his Red Bull Challenger.
Ted going very wide in turn 2. So let down a state able to get back through up into 8th.
All that hard work's just been surrendered back through a mistake.
Very unlucky.
So Bannister is currently in the lead by 1.5 seconds. Old Dad is staying with him, not quite in DRS range. Prev, Mikey, Appleplex and Dastley was all battling earlier, so they just dropped out from Old Dad's by 2 seconds, but Mikey will be having another look this lap on Prev. Mikey with a lot more overtake in his tank. Prev's already using his overtake. So Prev is trying his hardest to be outside of that DRS range because he knows the damage that will do, but Mikey's got the overtake to get back in. As we cross through the detection point, I think Mikey is just outside of DRS range, but he will still have overtaken. A good slipstream on Prev as we come down the start-finish straight. Ted quite close to the back of a letdown estate again.
Yeah, might be able to get the move done for a second time, but he's not got much overtake to work with, and he can't close the gap enough. Down into turn 1.
Backed out early there. You could see how a letdown estate just flew away as Ted hit on the brakes.
That's frustrating first step so far for Ted.
Ted's pushing quite hard out of these S's, and he doesn't seem to be taking the best line, but he just almost seems frustrated. He's trying to get past the letdown estate that hard that he's maybe not taking the best line to do it. Oh, and
he's struggling here now, as you can see. Not taking that hairpin well at all. He's dropped back over 2 seconds.
Could that be tyre temperatures? He just doesn't seem to be having the grip, or he's pushing too hard, and his tyres aren't sticking to the road as they should be.
Mikey now a little bit closer to the Red Bull in front on this lap. Still not deploying that overtake as Mikey do time and time again, just harvesting up as much battery power as he can before blasting past the man in front and then blasting away off into the distance.
You can see, whilst Mikey's not really challenging Prev is able to close the gap to Old Dad's. Albeit Old Dad's is dropping away from Bannister, so I think net Mikey might be maintaining to Bannister as Ted pits and obviously doesn't like them tyres.
He's struggling on those softs. We saw Dastardly with an early pit stop. That might not hurt you to have an early pit, one of those mediums with the weather coming in.
Well, how long are these softs supposed to last? Because Old Dad's is just dropping loads of time to Prev now.
They can last anywhere between 12 to really 20 laps if you can stretch them, but they shouldn't be wearing too much at this point. The ideal 2-stop window is somewhere between 12 and 15 laps. That's if you're doing a 2-stop strategy, but as we know, weather's playing a big part in the strategies today. You can stretch these softs to 20 laps. We saw a couple of drivers do it in the AL1 race on Wednesday. Interesting to see a couple of early pit stops, but we'll see how those strategies play out.
I think setup might have a lot of play with it as well, and your tyre pressures, because these S's, I imagine, will cause a lot of temperature into your tyres, and as soon as they're over temperature, you just lose grip. And I kind of felt like that's what we were seeing with Ted. But Prev is really closing the gap to this racing point. Ted with another 3-second penalty there. Prev is using his overtake. He doesn't have much in the bank. Mikey has got a lot of overtake to use, but he's currently outside of DRS. So Mikey's now switched on his overtake. He's trying to get within that DRS range of Prev, which is right on the cusp. Can he get in? Did he get in just as the detection zone came up? Let's see. Yes, he does have overtake on Prev.
Prev also with DRS. They both close in on the racing point.
So Mikey 4 seconds behind his main target of Bannister. Bannister still out in the lead, controlling this race. Having secured pole, he's also led every lap so far. So a real strong race from Bannister. Mikey recovering well from that dreadful start, which still don't really know what happened there. But still, we're on lap 11 of 53, so there's plenty of this race to go, and we know we have some weather on its way.
Prev was catching Obad's pretty quickly, but he's gotten around that 1 second mark. He hasn't been able to close the gap too much the last couple laps.
Yeah, he's dropped outside of DRS and he's got no ERS to try and catch him with. But Mikey, as you say, as usual, he's managing his...
Mikey's in.
Yes.
Mikey and Appleplex into the pits.
Appleplex onto a set of mediums. Mikey onto another set of softs. And we have a yellow flag in sector 2. Is that Ted? Yeah, Ted is off. He's missing half of his wing just out on the exit of Spoon.
And those curves on the inside of Spoon can be very rough if you get your car onto those curves. It will throw you off, and that may have been what happened to Ted. He nurses his car back toward the pits. Very difficult to do with damaged front wing.
Mikey got in and out of the pits quite well, and he's got some good clean air in front of him now. 6 seconds between him and a letdown estate. But Appleplex came out right in front of Dastardly. So Dastardly's early stop now might bring him into play here as he is chasing down Appleplex. So no pit this round from any of the top three. CHM with a great race, he's currently sat in 4th place. Ooh, and Dastardly having to hit the brakes hard there to avoid the gearbox of the Mercedes in front of him. But now he will have DRS and overtake to have a look down this start-finish straight as he is closing the gap.
Applefoot's just got a little bit onto the grass on the exit of the final corner. Dastardly had an opportunity there, but he chose to just save up his overtake and get behind Applefoot's another lap. Let's see if he's a bit more aggressive next time around.
Prev continuing his hunt of the racing point in front of him. Got a great exit out of Spoon. He's closing the gap to Old Dad's. Not close enough to make a move anywhere near 130R.
Dastardly is through on the inside at Spoon. Appleplex gonna bring the fight back though. He's deploying some overtake down the back straight.
Ooh, and Prev was looking to have a go there. Down the start-finish straight, backed out, but then nearly collided with Old Dad's as they went into turn 2.
Appleplex can close the gap. He's got DRS down the main straight. Closing on the Ferrari.
Oh no! That's not what he wanted to do. It nearly hit him again for good measure. We saw some wing damage there from the Mercedes as he collected the rear wheel of Dastardly, which was, I think it's really lucky we didn't have sim damage on then, because that would have been a rear puncher for the Ferrari.
Now back up to Prev and Old Dad's.
Mikey's really also closing the gap to a letdown estate. Great exit from Spoon for just Mikey. He's going to have the move well. Oh! He chose the right hand side to go down of a letdown estate, but a letdown estate shut the door. So hopefully there wasn't much damage from that collision there.
And there Mikey goes. Plenty of space this time to make the move.
And we have Sega and CHM pitting. So only 9 cars on track, but we've still got plenty of action going on. 15 laps into this race. Just Mikey now, only 19 seconds off of Prev. Just set a purple sector 1, which is no surprise with the DRS assistance. He's now well within a pit stop of Prev, so if Prev, Old Dad's and Bannister all pit now, Mikey will probably take the race lead.
Yeah, Mikey's strategy looking good right now. It's just going to be a question of how long is he going to have to be on those soft tires. You see, most of the people that have pit have gone on to the mediums, but Mikey chose another set of softs.
Except for Mikey's teammate. Mikey's teammate CHM has also gone onto the soft tyres, so the Renault garage favouring these red wall tyres. As none of the top 3 pit. Oh, and Old Dad's is off. Old Dad's just dropped it in the S's, which has allowed Prev to just drive straight by and take the second place. Old Dad's will be kicking himself for that mistake. It takes a good few corners to drive the dirt off your tyres drive the grass off after you've had enough, so you don't feel the proper traction again until a few corners later.
They get to cause right on the back of CHM. Come around Dunlop. CHM on those top tires, as we said. They get opting for the mediums, so we'll see if Sega's still able to stick to the back of the Renault, even on the less grippier tire.
But this is what you want when you're on the harder compound. You want the slipstream, you want the DRS of the guy in front. You want them to wear their tyres out and you to just have a nice steady race as you go along, as Old Dad's picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. Old Dad's coming out behind a letdown estate. Currently in a Ferrari sandwich because he's got a letdown estate in front and Dastardly behind. But on them fresher tyres, Old Dad's with the pace he had, as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes in the S's like that, he should be able to start making some moves further up the table.
Yeah, letdown estate still on the medium tires that we started the race on. The Old Dads will be looking to get this move done. Old Dads has got plenty of overtake to work with.
Bannister and Prev drive past the pits, they're still not pitting. The longer they go on these tyres, the weaker that is going to make Mikey's strategy. Dastardly also.
To the racing point of Old Dads on the main straight. He's got DRS. He's using plenty of overtake. Is he going to have a go? No, he backs out into turn one. It'll be a very difficult corner to send it up the inside. Turn one. Very high speed, and the racing line is just cutting across the apex, not braking too much until you get past that apex into turn two. But he's still right on the back of the Ferrari.
He's having a look on the inside down around Dunlop curve. But he backs out through Degner. He just can't seem to get that position just yet. But all this time that he can't get past the Ferrari of a letdown estate, the Ferrari teammate is behind him, just waiting to pounce also.
Yeah, letdown estate doing his teammate a favor here, holding up Old Dad's. Old Dad's not getting a great exit out of spin. Here comes Dastardly.
It's like Old Dad's is just getting too close to a letdown estate at the wrong parts of the track. He's having to back out, which is costing him exit speed. Oh, and a letdown estate seems to lose a bit of traction on his rear tyres at the exit of the chicane there.
I think Old Dad's will be through here. He's already passed him, well in front of braking zone into turn one.
Oh, and Old Dad's picks up a penalty, goes really deep. As you said, these S's, high-speed section, the drivers can pull 4 Gs as they're coming round here.
Appleflex has made it through on CHM, and Bannister and Prev have both hit, so Mikey is our new race leader.
Ah, yes. But interesting, as you said, most of the other drivers, as has Bannister and Prev, gone onto the medium tyres. And to me, it doesn't look like much threat of rain, as CHM is having a look on the back of Appleplex there. So we can
gotten a better exit out of Spoon than Appleplex. Backs off. He doesn't want to go side by side through 130R.
No, but he can't back off too much because Sega de Cos is right behind him in the Williams. Two Ferraris are quite close on track. Oh no, and who's
Is
off?
that Bannister?
Bannister is off.
Bannister is off.
Doesn't look to have any damage at the moment, but that will damage his race. Dropped down now to 6th place, just in front of his teammate of Appleplex, who was still under threat from the other Renault driver of CHM.
That could have big implications on the championship, as Mikey did not get a good start, dropped down to 6th, and Bannister was looking to make up a lot of points.
And the Ferrari cars
today.
are side by side coming round Spoon, and Dastardly has overtaken his teammate. I could think of better places that could have made that switch.
And now CHM, still right on the back of the Mercedes of Appleplex. As I was saying, Bannister was looking like he was going to make up a lot of points on Mikey, but now it looks like it's going to go the other way. As left down a state, coming back at his teammate here. Owen Dastardly able to make it stick around the outside and keep that position. No team orders for Ferrari today.
No, but it's great that the team are letting them battle like this, and it all seems open and fair. Racing side by side, giving each other the racing respect they deserve.
And Sega going a little bit off there at Dunlop, dropping back from CHM and Appleplex. Well, Sega Takals on the podium last week. It was a great drive, but he's down in 9th now, looking to make up some spots, but mistakes like that won't help him. Appleplex already on his overtake on the exit of Spoon very early.
He doesn't have very much overtake to have on. You're really pushing the limit just to try and get out of that DRS range.
Big lockup from Appleplex into the chicane, and if CHM can get a good exit here, he might have a chance down into turn 1. Renault driver's got his overtake on. Got DRS open, switches to the inside.
Oh no!
Oh, when there's contact.
I'm not sure if Appleplex was expecting the move from CHM then, but he was clearly going to be looking for something.
They were side by side. They entered the braking zone. But CHM's gotten through one way or another.
Had a fantastic view of that.
I did not. Looking your side camera, couldn't really tell what was happening.
I was riding on board with CHM, but then I switched to broadcast, but it went to the curb camera on the inside, and you just saw the collision and CHM just flying towards the camera. I was like, whoa!
Appleplex with another thing to deal with. Spitz has made up the time and gotten right on the back of him. Spitz not wasting any time here. He's just deploying his overtake down the back straight. He's going to try and go around the right. Appleplex not having any other.
I'll try and say this with sounding as respectful as possible, but Appleplex, like a brick wall at the minute, it just seems to not be able to get past him very easily.
Yeah, and that Sega may be a little bit ambitious to go for a gap that was never really there. Maybe he's expecting Appleplex to move over a bit.
Well, there's the other side of the track as well.
Yes.
You know, Appleplex is entitled to move in one direction to defend, and if that direction is the same direction Sega's chose to overtake, he needs to switch sides.
Yes, I agree.
But now both of them drivers are missing an end plate. Appleplex still have wing damage from when he ran into the rear wheel of Dastardly. So Appleplex is missing a left end plate and Sega is missing a right end plate. So Mikey now, or still should I say, out in front on his soft tyres, which are 11 laps old. He's 8 seconds in front of Prev, but Prev only on 4 lap old mediums, so Prev can go a lot further into this race than Mikey can. So we go on board with Mikey and we're looking up in the clouds. I can't see like any immediate threat of rain, and it was around 12 laps, 13 laps when Mikey pit the first time. So
Appleplex locking up in turn 2. Spitz right on the back of him. Just saying, doesn't look like rain is imminent.
No, I think
might be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I think that Renault strategy is not really playing out as intended. I think that maybe they thought the rain was going to be coming much sooner. But even if that, they could have tried to push the softs as far as the likes of Bannister and Prev did at the beginning.
Yeah.
But speak of Bannister, and he is now looking for an overtake on the Ferrari of a letdown of state. So he has 19 lap fresher tyres than the car in front, which should make this overtake easier to do.
And he'll get DRS as they come out of the final corner. Got plenty of overtake to work with.
As usual, the straight line speed of the Ferraris seem to be working to her advantage, but he rides the curve quite a lot on the inside there, which would have cost him a few tenths. So Bannister will be having another look at the overtake, either down the back straight after Spoon, or with DRS assistance on the start-finish straight as a letdown. A State gets very loose going through Spoon,
really loose,
and he has to catch it, which gives the place to Bannister. Which the only grace he will have now is the fact that the straight line speed of that Ferrari is rapid, and he should also have DRS to try and get that place back on the start-finish straight. But is he going to be close enough? Has he got the traction out that final corner?
I think he's conceded that position. Not a great exit out of the chicane and let down state. He's down into 6th.
That's unfortunate for a letdown estate to lose the position due to trying to catch a slide. But Bannister may be thankful that the move was done without causing much damage to his tyres. He was able to just get past, and now he can chase down the Ferrari's teammate dastardly. So, as I was saying, Mikey, race leader at the moment, 13 lap old softs. So he's on his tyres as old as they were when he last pitted. But he's actually building a gap. Prev is losing time to Mikey in front. Prev on 6 lap old mediums. So again, the clouds are getting a bit thicker now, but still no threat of rain, so there still could be another 10 laps or so before anything like that would happen, at least.
And those softs can be stretched further than Mikey took them on that first stint. Go a maximum of 22 laps, so if the rain is coming in around 10 laps, it's might be just out of reach for Mikey, but still got some life left in the softs to build a gap a little bit over the next few laps.
He might have to pit just to have pace, because like you say, he can push them softs. At the moment, he's maintaining that gap to Prev, which is just built, but it will come a switch over point where Prev's tyres will have more traction than Mikey's older soft tyres. And Appleplex sets a fastest lap with a 1:31.7. I can tell you that has beaten last season's fastest lap of the race, which last season was 1:31.8. So already only halfway through the race, and we are faster than we were last season, which just shows you the pace improvement of these cars as Mikey is in the pits. So Mikey going on to a set of mediums, although Mikey isn't as good as the tyre management, but clearly has pace. Is he going to be out in front of Bannister? No, Bannister is going to take the position from Mikey, but Mikey is going to be coming out with just 8 lap fresher tyres to challenge Bannister now. So a letdown estate, one of the only, well, the only car to still be on the tyres he started this race on. Currently driving in 6th. Appleplex currently holding up the back of the grid. 23 seconds behind Sega, but that is because he had wing damage and he's not had his best race here so far. But Prev is our new race leader, so he will complete this lap to complete his first lap led here. Appleplex with another penalty. He's collected a few now, so let's see. Oh no, he's only got, this was only his second. Sega has 3 seconds and Old Dad's has 11, because he picked up a 5-second speeding in the pits penalty.
An interesting race developing here, as We saw Bannister make a big mistake just a few laps ago, dropping him down. Mikey being on a different strategy than most of the drivers in the field. Prev has found himself in a really good spot, and Prev without a podium so far this season. So to be leading this race at this point, over the halfway mark, Prev having an outstanding drive so far.
Yeah, it looks like Prev is one of the ones that's probably on, for what looks like at the moment, the best strategy, and having have not dropped it in an incident anywhere, which has gained him the lead of this race. Old Dad's Rules is also showing incredible pace. He does unfortunately have a couple of penalties at the minute, which as it stands would drop him out of the podium position. Dastardly doing quite well with a suspicious early stop. We're not really sure what that early stop was for just yet, but he, on 24 lap old mediums, is taking the third spot for the time being. But Bannister is closing that gap to the Ferrari of Dastardly. Maybe not as quick as I thought he was going to be closing that gap, but he has our current championship leader, Mikey, slowly closing that gap behind him on 9-lap fresher tyres. In fact, to take it back, Mikey has just taken 7/10 out of Bannister there. Ooh, and as I let down Estate gets his first penalty. And we have a yellow flag, and that is Sega Takoz. Sega Takoz is off around Dunlop. He's got some wing damage, and he's only 14 laps in on those medium tyres, so he won't be happy about coming in and having to swap them off. But he's going to have to come in because that wing damage is probably too much. But that will probably drop him down behind Appleplex. But let's just jump up to Mikey, because Mikey has closed that gap now down to 5/10, and he is going to be having DRS on this start-finish straight.
Yeah, Mikey making up a lot of time on that lap. Sets the fastest lap of the race so far, and switching to the inside now. Can he make it stick? Mikey on the fresher tires. It's ahead of Bannister's championship rival.
Yeah, that may be the difference in the tyre life there, because he made that move look quite easy with DRS assistance also. But can he keep this position for a full lap?
He is building gap as Bannister not having best first sector, dealing with some dirty air. It'd be really difficult to stick to the back of the car in front.
Wonder if his Mercedes is set up like a real Mercedes, where it's got flat out pace in clean air, but when it's following behind somebody, he just seems to struggle.
Yeah. Dropping back out of DRS range this lap.
Or maybe that's just evidence of the pace that Mikey has brought here.
And they were almost identical on pace in practice and in qualifying, and is dastardly in the pits
for hard tyres.
Hards.
Is it going to rain?
That's an interesting one.
So,
because Dastardly had options there. He could have gone onto soft, medium, or hard, and chose the slowest, longest lasting tire. Put them on. I can't quite understand that one. Because even if he's trying to go to the end, he, from this point, could have taken set of mediums to the end.
Yeah, he would have had another set of mediums because he started on the softs, didn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting. He's come out behind CHM, but already showing great pace in comparison because CHM's softs are 16 laps old. So this looks like it may be a quick and easy move.
It will be difficult for Dastardly to get good traction out of those corners, as those hards normally take a lap or two to get all the way up to temperature and start feeling any amount of grip. So
yeah, sometimes it takes a long time for them hards, doesn't it, to come to life. Jesus, I can't speak.
Dastardly looking like he'll get DRS. Come through the protection zone and into the chicane. And the other Ferrari is in. The CO and CHM is in as well, so not much for Dastardly to do to make that spot up. And the other Ferrari, the letdown estate, has gone on to a set of softs.
I was glad that you said that. So a letdown estate coming out the pits right with Sega.
Gets through.
Sega on 17 lap old mediums. Are these fresh softs going to be up for the challenge for taking that position from Sega? And Appleplex has left the session, but his car's still on track. He was in the pits at the time, so I'm curious as to that's a disconnection or a deliberate retirement.
Really close to the Williams there.
He was nearly back in the pits for another wing then, but he's got a lot of overtake. He just needs to get the job done at the right spot and not rush it.
Doesn't have to be too aggressive through this part of the lap. Just needs to use the extra grip that he's got to take advantage on those fresh softs. Get close to the back of Sega's cars so they get to a part of the track like this where he can deploy some of that overtake. I like him just to save it up maybe for the DRS straight.
Losing a bit of traction on the rear end.
Using his overtake now on let down estate. He's closing the gap very quickly. Sega's cars goes defensive to the inside. And a letdown estate is through.
Very good move there. It looked like that gap towards the end was just closing to a point where I wasn't sure if he was going to have enough space to get the move done.
And it is starting to look a little bit darker.
It does look like it could rain in a lap or two.
No rain was forecasted towards the end of the race, but never quite know for sure with the weather.
But Mikey doing a grand job. When Dastardly pit, that gave Mikey third place. I think the last lap I looked, he was 6 seconds away from Old Dad's, and he's currently 4.5, so he's closing that gap. Old Dad's maintaining that 3-second gap to Prev, but this may be a turning point of the race, as we say. Weather could be imminent, because that seems to have got dark pretty quickly. It was forecast heavy rain as well, so that might be a rapid change in conditions.
Prev still sitting nicely up in P1, no penalties for the Red Bull driver, and those medium tires will be able to go at least 10 more laps before they start feeling too bad, and looking darker and darker now, so we might have some rain by that time.
I think when I've been... Go on, sorry.
Finish saying Prev is in a good spot.
When I've been riding on board with Prev, it's felt very calm and controlled. I think it was a letdown estate when he was coming up against. He just seemed to have full control of his gears, and he was just knew when to put the power down. So I feel his tyre management early on in the race, and he's just very much in control right now. And he is controlling this Grand Prix from the start, from the lead.
And he doesn't have to take really any risks at this point. He can save his tires, save some fuel if he wants. Old Dad's is behind 3 seconds, but he's got penalties, so really Mikey, the biggest threat to Prev at this point.
It'd be interesting to see how this race would be if Bannister hadn't have had that little incident, because early on we was questioning Mikey's strategy where he went soft, medium, and obviously Prev and Bannister went soft for longer and then jumped onto the mediums. Now Mikey's got 9-lap fresher mediums to Prev and Bannister. He's in front of Bannister, but Bannister had that off. But he is 7 seconds behind Prev. And if we have some weather and everybody pits, is that strategy worked for him? Probably not the way he planned. But if the weather does fall now, Mikey's going to have much more traction on them 8-lap old softs than Bannister or Prev would have on them 17-lap old softs.
Yeah, it will be interesting if or when the rain comes.
And then what's everybody's setup going to be like? Because we know that some people have had quite good pace in these dry conditions, but then your pace will be very different in wet conditions.
Old Dad's is now pushing, trying to catch the Red Bull in front. Cut the gap down to 2 seconds.
He's also increased the gap between him and Mikey, so he really has pushed there. But Old Dad's currently looking at 14 seconds of penalties. 5 of them may come off when he next pits, and he would have to sit still in the pits for 5 seconds. So really, if you take them 14 seconds off live in the race now, as Old Dad's does pick up the fastest lap, so yes, he is pushing. And if the rain falls now, that's his point, because if the rain falls, nobody else is going to be able to improve that time.
Yeah.
But Old Dad's net position after penalties is going to be 4th, so we would have Prev, Mikey and Bannister on the podium. Oh, and we've got the AI car of Appleplex on track as they just lap his car.
Old Dad's now in second. Prev getting a little bit on the grass and the entry to the hairpin. Does look like rain is on its way. It's just a matter of when at this point.
Old Dad's looking really strong right now, only 4 tenths behind Prev, and he's going to have DRS. Neither of them have very much overtake.
That's his only problem, preventing him from having to move there into turn 1. He didn't have any overtake to work with. Might just try to stay behind the Red Bull this lap if he can stay this close, which would be so difficult as you're seeing the 30 year through this sector. And stay close and just bank some overtake, he might be in a better position to have a move.
He's struggling. He was struggling for traction there, whether that be dirty air or whether the track's dropping in temperature now because of the clouds. But Mikey's now beginning to reclose that gap. But Mikey will be coming up to the AI car of Appleplex shortly. So I'm hoping he can get past without incident. And he does.
Dad's using a little bit of overtake on the exit of Spoon.
Prev also using overtake to try and stay in front.
And they're getting really close under braking.
Ooh, and I thought Old Dad was going to have a great exit there, but he seemed to lose some traction on the back end. He's dropped right back from Prev, making it very difficult to have any go at an overtake on this occasion.
Yeah, Prev just keeping his cool there, getting the power down smoothly out of that chicane. Old Dad just had a little bit of a wheel spin there. Cost him some valuable tenths.
These cars seem very loose around here now. Whether it be the age of the tyres, they're on 20 and 22 lap old tyres, they just seem to not have the traction that I think they had a few laps ago. Dad's closing that gap once again.
All about the exit to the chicane, those where he struggled the last couple laps.
He got a great exit this time. Yeah.
Still not close enough. Challenge for that road.
No, the straight line speed of that Red Bull denied the overtake. Bannister coming up to the hill of Appleplex in probably one of the worst places on track to be faced with the blue flag. But he gets past. Mikey taking a second out of Old Dad's since the last time we looked, last lap. So all this challenging that Old Dad's is bringing to Prev is just winning Mikey some time. And we are coming into some of the final stages of this Grand Prix, and we've not yet seen any weather. Maybe that's what the pit crew of Dastardly have looked at, whether it's actually going to rain. Whether if it does rain, whether it's actually going to cause us a wet condition on the track. Because Old Dad still fails to get the move done on Prev down the start-finish straight.
not having one of their Dunlop.
22 and 24 lap old mediums. We've seen the Ferrari of a letdown estate take them 34 laps, I believe. So there should still be some life in their tyres, but they just don't seem to look as well as Mikey's. Mikey now having taken another second out of them this lap.
As you see the Renault of Mikey coming into the background behind our two leaders.
Great exit again from Old Dad's, but Prev just seems to be on rails coming around that final chicane. Old Dad's is closing though. Still unable to get that move done. But soon there will be 3 to this party, as Dastardly set the fastest lap on a set of hards. So it took a while for them hards to come alive, 10 laps, but it's looking like they're paying off now as he earns an extra constructor's point. Oh, and Sega is in the pits. He's getting a new wing and is putting on a fresh set of soft tyres, and Old Dad's is looking pretty close to Prev now, probably the closest he's been at this point.
Could go forward into the chicane.
He's looking for a better line coming out of the chicane, but no, he loses a bit of traction on the rear end and just drops back.
Still not using his overtake, is he? Old Dad's.
I think Prev is there. Prev don't have very much overtake at all.
Prev is using all he can while the Racing Point is just saving up his last couple laps. So it's like he's had opportunities to get the overtake.
Well, Mikey now just getting ever closer. If Mikey is on trend for the last few laps, he will likely have DRS this time round. So if Old Dad's can't get past Prev, Mikey might be getting past Old Dad's.
Old Dad's onto the grass on the exit of the hairpin there.
Oh, I missed that.
Not do him any favors. It's just dropped back from Prev and dropped into the sights of Mikey.
Old Dad's back in DRS range of Prev. But all top 3 drivers will have DRS on this lap. Sorry, correction, Prev won't. As Mikey claims the extra championship point for fastest lap. So this is now officially a 3-way battle for the race lead between Prev, Old Dad's and just Mikey.
Prev will be ecstatic that that racing one is in between him and Mikey, just so there's a sort of buffer, hoping that Old Dad's can defend against our championship leader in the Renault.
well, Mikey's closed this gap down now, but his gap back to Bannister is 8.5 seconds. So the longer this battle goes on and the longer it takes for Mikey to gain any positions, that gap may now begin to close to Bannister. And Old Dad's almost looking in trouble to be outside of the DRS range, but he gets back in. As Sega now takes the fastest lap with a 1:29.9. Incredible lap there from Sagan.
And for Old Dad's now is the best defense to overtake the Red Bull as he switches to the inside. Can he make the move stick into turn 1 and through turn 2? He is ahead. Old Dad's into the race lead.
That was a great move from Old Dad's. Finally got the move done. A move I think he was wishing he could have got done about 6 laps ago. But now, as you say, that just puts Prev in danger as he's lost his buffer between him and Mikey.
Mikey with much fresher tires and much more overtake to work with than both drivers in front.
And Old Dad's is showing a bit of pace now because he was outside a DRS window with Prev then.
Yeah, Prev needs to stay within a second of Old Dad's if he wants to have any chance of keeping this position.
Although we do know the straight line speed of that Red Bull is pretty incredible. But he's leaving a big slipstream for Mikey to follow right now, and Mikey is closing that gap rapid. Oh, and Prev drops it. Mikey got past Prev on the exit of the chicane, but he was already through the detection point, which means Mikey gets the DRS. So Mikey has now taken the position from Prev to chase down Old Dad's, who has 14 seconds of penalties. So in essence, Mikey has got the race lead.
Yeah, we say it every week though, Mikey, as all of our drivers, will want to get the move done on the track, not leave it up to the penalties. 6.5 laps or so for our championship leader to take the lead on track.
Is it going to rain?
He looks likely that Mikey will be able to close this gap down. Old Dad's is on really old medium tires.
Well, if he can make it stick, then he should change his name to Old Tyres Rules. But Mikey, uncharacteristically, doesn't have very much overtake to get the job done. But he's outside a DRS window of Prev, so he shouldn't have too much a threat from behind. So we could probably slipstream Old Dad's for a lap or two just to try and bank some overtake. But Bannister is closing that gap now. I think he's probably same gap to Mikey, but he is closing in on Prev.
Old Dad's is been able to maintain 1.5 seconds or so for Mikey.
Mikey not able to save much overtake that lap. He has got closer to Old Dad's. I'm beginning to think that Mikey's strategy actually paid off quite well, because he's now in front of Prev by 3.5 seconds. Prev on 9 lap older tyres.
He's in good shape at the most important part of the race. Old Dad's on 31 lap old mediums. Old Dad's, as you said, doing really well to hold his position on track. With the penalty situation, he will be dropping back into those penalties, but there's a lot of credit for having that car where it is, in front of the pack.
I mean, if we had some wet weather in the last 3 laps of this race, Mikey of this top 4 will have the best traction to deal with that wet weather.
Now Mikey inside that 1 second window, so we will be getting DRS this time around.
So much more traction out of that chicane on the Renault.
He's gonna send it. He's losing his overtake, Mikey. He's not wasting any time with this one as he's down the inside.
Oh, and Old Dad's has gone loose.
And Old Dad's is really loose. But Mikey takes the race lead.
Old Dad's really done well to keep the car pointed in the right direction there, and he didn't seem to lose too much time from that. He's still 2 seconds in front of Prev. But that would have been a really scary moment in that racing point.
Yeah, this tire's so old, not much grip left in him at all. Pirelli saying that those mediums can go a maximum of 33 laps, so he's right up on that maximum lap number.
When you ride on board with him, you can see the graining from them tyres. So just Mikey, having now taken the race lead so late in the race, he is 4 laps away from taking the win.
Yeah, Mikey's strategy, I think he banked on there not being any weather affecting this race. He took his first 2 sets of tires longer than the rest of the pack. And he had fresher tires than his main rivals.
No, he did an extra stop, didn't he?
He did.
This will be his 3rd win of the season. And with only 5 races left to go, he's consistently on the podium, but only twice before now has he ever took the top step.
I feel Mikey's never one to be shy about using a different strategy than the rest, and saw that here today, and he paid off for him. Able to have the grip in the tires at the end of the race to get past Prev and get past Old Dad's. And now he's still got great life left in those mediums to extend the gap, and he looks comfortable now for the race win with just a little over 2 laps remaining for him.
Tyres all looking equally awful on Old Dad's, Prev and Bannister, but Bannister does seem to be closing that gap to Prev a little bit, so that will be the next gap to keep an eye on as we come into the final 2 laps of this race. So can 2nd, 3rd and 4th keep these tyres in a condition to finish the race. I think none of these cars look like they're in much of a position to be bringing a challenge to anybody. Dastardly is closing the gap to Bannister, but with only 2 laps left, that's too much of a distance to take a position. He would have to hope for Bannister, Prev or Old Dads to suffer an incident with the tyres.
The only battle that we might have for this last lap coming up is Sega to Cause, closing in on CHM. They get pushed a bit too far back this time round, and he'll have one more chance. Next time round to get the move done on CHM.
But Mikey has now begun his final lap.
Rain has started falling.
There is.
On the final lap of the race.
We told you there'd be rain late in the race. Just didn't realise it would be this late. But I think some of the pit crews knew.
Sega to Cause sending it down the inside at the hairpin. But Williams powering through the inside and getting the move done. Drivers just have to be careful now as the track starts to dampen.
Yeah, Mikey coming round Spoon for this final time.
Everybody's still on slick tires, and most of them on very worn slick tires, which do not do well in damp conditions. But don't think it'll matter too much for Mikey's. Coming into the chicane for the final time. The man who's been so consistent all season long takes the race win in Japan, and that gives him one hand on the driver's title. Big gap between him and Bannister, and he's extended that gap even further. It's now Prev crosses the line. He finished second, Bannister third, Old Dad's dropping back due to penalties. A great drive from Prev, has to be said. His best result of the season. Dastardly coming home fifth. Second Ferrari was let down a state across the line, and we've just got a couple of cars now making their way.
Yeah, Sega to Cars currently in second after sending that move on CHM earlier in the lap.
Yeah, but with Sega's penalties, as he gets really loose coming around the final corner, Sega will cross the line ahead of CHM, but as we'll see in just a moment, Sega to Cause with 6 seconds penalties, CHM moving up a place into 7th.
And that rounds off our Japanese Grand Prix, and we have Prev as the driver of the day.
Well deserved.
I do agree. He gained many positions there, and he fought in a battle with our current championship leaders, so he's up there bringing the fight late in the season, saying don't forget about me. So well deserved to be up there on the podium with the two men battling out for the full title.
Small Scottish podium there, I think.
You are correct, yes. So, as we run down, as Matt just said, with the full Scottish podium, we have Mikey taking his third race win of the season. In second place, we have Prev. Third is Bannister. Fourth is Old Dads. Fifth is Dastardly. Sixth is A Letdown Estate. Seventh is CHM. Eighth is Sega de Cos. Ninth, Appleplex won't be classified as he disconnected, and Ted also retired early in the session and won't be classified either. So that was the Japanese Grand Prix for Wheel2Wheel AL2. We hope that you enjoyed that. We will see now if we can get any of these drivers in for a post-race interview. So Mikey taking the 25 points there, extending his championship lead, but Bannister picking up 15 points, not letting Mikey run away with it just yet. And we will soon be joined by Bannister for a post-race interview. I'm wondering if we can get any of the others in, because there was Mikey and Prev there also on the podium.
Yep. Bannister, you there?
Yeah, man.
So it looked really good for you early on. You're able to get on pole, and your championship rival Mikey didn't get a good start at all, so you must have been feeling good early on.
Until that spin, and that destroyed me.
What happened there? Was that a driver error? Was it too much curve?
Yeah, I was adjusting the fuel mixture and just got a snap on, and that was it. I was like, no, how can I have done that?
It was really unfortunate. It was such a strong session, as Matt said, from you from the beginning, to take pole, to lead every lap up until that point, and to have such an advantage over Mikey having such a bad start. It was a shame to see that.
I knew he was gonna come back, because he's always quick, and we're only a tenth off each other in the practice sessions, so it was like, I couldn't believe that I spun. I knew that one mistake had cost me, and that was it. I had a moment coming out of the pits. I had a massive drift going around turn one on cold tyres, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be it. No.
Was you set on what you was going to do for your strategy? Did you know you was going to try and one-stop it?
Yeah, one stop, yeah. There was rain forecast, but we didn't know when it was going to come, like, last couple of laps, but I ended up coming on the last lap, so it didn't really help. I needed it on lap 38.
No, but we were talking about how interesting it would have been to see how your strategies would have played out without incident, to see if your one stop would have been better than Mikey's two stop, because he seemed pretty set on that early on.
Mikey went pretty far on the first set of softs.
No, he only went about 12-13 laps, and then he did 13 laps again.
On the soft.
Soft, mediums.
I was going to do that, but then I backed out of it and went.
I mean, initially it didn't look like it was going to play out, but at the end he seemed to have the extra pace. But his tyres was only 9 laps younger than yours come the end of the race on his final stop.
Yeah. No, he's good, man. He's quick. He doesn't make many mistakes, so it's hard to beat.
His consistency in racecraft has certainly improved over the last few seasons at Wheel2Wheel.
He's very good.
But as is yours, you know, you're in contention for the driver's title still. 4 races left to go. You're still able to take that top step.
Oh, I'm going to take him out late at last one. Going to push him all the way. And Dast is pushing me as well, so...
Yeah, this was overall still a really good result for you, given that one spin you had. So you're able to build the gap to Dastardly. How are you feeling about the next couple of tracks going over to the Americas? You think you got a good chance to pick up some ground there?
No, not too bad there. I've figured it out last season. Season before that, I wasn't too good in Sector 1, but this time I've nailed it. So I shall be on the charge.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing that for sure.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever get Mikey or anybody in here because the mic shy.
Yeah, that's why we like you, Bannister, always jumping in for a post-race interview.
I'm not worried.
Well, at least you've got your settings on so our viewers can actually hear you. So,
Yeah.
which is always a good sign.
Some technical difficulties last week, but
It's pretty funny
nothing
though
to worry
when
about.
you watch it back.
Yeah. But, well, unlucky on that spin, but still good recovery. Way to get on the podium, Bannister. And we look forward to the next few weeks, seeing if you can really challenge Mikey for this championship.
Yeah, guys, cheers.
Well, thank you very much, Bannister. And as Matt said, we will see you not next week because we will now be going on to our Christmas break. So we will see
Merry
you.
Christmas, by the way.
Yes, Merry Christmas all. And we will see you in the new year when we come back and we face USA.
Yes.
Let's get it on.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all and stay safe.